Antiques Roadshow is discovering treasures in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
What's it like meeting the president?
Well, I walked in and there was a crowd full of men in coats, and I said, okay, which one's the president? Oh my gosh.
It's a lot.
I'm speechless.
It's a good day, isn't it?
Yes.
Next time from Myrtle Beach on Antiques Roadshow.
Thursday at 7.
You're watching WSIU Carbondale, WUSI only.
River Region Evening Edition is made possible through the membership support of viewers like you, with additional support from Country Insurance and Financial Services and WSIL TV3.
Now on River Region Evening Edition News. A winter storm hits Midwest and slams into our area as well. We have the latest on what to expect from the storm. The storm closed dozens of schools early all across the region, and getting around is not too easy for many. And a big-name comedian comes to Carbondale with a unique view of why we laugh.
Live from the campus of Southern Illinois University Carbondale, bringing you the news from around the world and across the River Region. This is the Evening Edition.
A winter storm is hitting the River Region hard. Good evening, I'm Anthony Giassi.
And I'm Jenna Buckles. A mixture of sleet, ice, rain, and snow is affecting the region. Schools closed early as roads started getting slick after the icy rain started falling. The National Weather Service has our area under a winter storm warning and reports about an inch of ice has built up in Carbondale. The ice froze car doors, closed, and coated car windows. Evening Edition weathercaster Star Derry is tracking this winter storm and joins us with a look at what's happening.
Well, it has been a miserable and challenging day for most of our region. We're under a winter storm warning. That's us here in the pink. Paducah is seeing a little bit less. They're under an advisory, so they'll see a little bit here and there of what we're seeing here. A lot of that snow, a lot of that ice until about 2 a.m. You can see this whole disturbance blowing through our area. Much of the Midwest is being affected. Some areas over in Kansas are even seeing up to a foot of snow. But here we're going to see a little bit more rain, a little less snow, a little bit of ice in between. So when you're dealing with these conditions, you want to keep dry if you can. If you have wet clothes, change them frequently. You want to avoid losing body heat. That'll help you avoid frostbite. You can see if you're getting frostbite if you start to lose color in the area and if they start to feel numb. And we already have a lot of reports of accidents on those roads, so avoid those roads if you can. Stay inside, stay warm, and stay with us for my full weather forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Star. The severe weather Star was talking about made for a short school day for many K-12 students. They closed early to get students off the roads as conditions got worse. But Evening Edition's Taylor Burrill reports SIU stayed open and students endured the weather.
Buses pull away after schools close early. But on campus at SIU, students are trying to get to class.
I also sit in the Lawson building, so I spend like 5 minutes to go to that building. And in this weather, I think that I'm not gonna walk, even if I'll be late.
I always have to make sure to be properly dressed for the occasion, and it really sucks when it's incredibly freezing cold out or something, or raining like how it is now, and I have no protection whatsoever.
Some students thought ahead and were ready with the right tools. Other students made the trip only to find empty classrooms.
I didn't really look at the weather before I came to class today. But it was fine, all day. It was pretty cold, and then it started hailing, and I went to my class and no one was in it. And then I went online and my next class got canceled. But I don't think it's too bad to go to class today. It's a little slippery, but...
In Carbondale, I'm Taylor Burrell.
And on SIU's campus, parking coordinator Patty Biggle says the parking division will not be ticketing students' cars for parking overnight due to the severe weather conditions.
A small town in eastern Illinois is losing its sledding hill because the city says it's just too big of a liability. Paxton city leaders have been warned their insurance rates will rise sharply. The town of Paxton was told an accident on the hill at Cody Park could increase their insurance cost. Paxton sits in one of the flattest areas in Illinois, and there aren't a lot of hills suitable for sledding.
The last thing you may want in this weather is to run out of gas. And unfortunately, if you're filled If you filled up your tank lately, you don't need us to tell you that prices are back on the rise. Karen Kaifa has tips for dealing with the latest squeeze at the pump in today's Consumer Watch.
Winter isn't typically a time when demand rises at the gas pumps, but prices have climbed since late January. AAA credits a perfect storm of factors that started with Superstorm Sandy and tightened supply.
We have about a quarter of the nation's refineries undergoing their annual maintenance right now. And you combine all of that with a lot of refineries doing their switch over to winter to summer blends.
Spikes in gas prices usually send consumers looking for alternatives like public transportation or carpools. But if less time behind the wheel isn't an option, try some basic gas-saving tips.
Driving smart. Make sure your tires are properly inflated. Make sure you drive the speed limit. Get rid of the junk in the trunk and avoid those jackrabbit starts and stops.
Also, put your smartphone to work to find the best gas prices. AAA has their own app. Gas Buddy is another. And if gas prices follow last year's pattern.
When you look back at 2012, as we approached April and May, the start of spring break driving and summer driving season, prices started to fall.
Relief could be on the way soon. For Consumer Watch, I'm Karen Kaifa.
Making sure your oil is changed on time and not stepping on the brake too fast could also improve your gas mileage. The Southern Illinois region may be feeling the effect of gas prices, but at least prices are lower than the northern half of the state.
And with prices on the rise, a new survey shows many Americans are cutting back on spending. But that could mean bad news for the economy. Nearly 75% of consumers say they're cutting back spending less on some items to make up for smaller paychecks and higher gas prices. The payroll tax holiday that expired this year has some workers taking home $50 to $150 less. To deal with the budget crunch, about a third of those surveyed say they're spending less on dining out, while 25% say they'll cut back on travel.
Nearly 1,000 National Guard members may face temporary furloughs if automatic federal spending cuts set for March 1st take place. Nearly 1,000 Indiana Guard members would lose 1 day's work and pay each week for 22 weeks. That would cost the National Guard $7 million in wages. Defense Secretary Leo Panetta said if the spending cuts kick in, he might have to shorten the work week for the vast majority of the Defense Department civilian workers.
An artist in Portland, Oregon has been honoring the men and women who died fighting in Iraq one piece of chalk at a time. Nancy Hiss's husband, Dan Berkman, has been photographing his wife's sidewalk chalk art since 2005. Berkman says Hiss created the art as a way to get people to stop and meditate on the lost lives. Sometimes mourning families would help her draw as a way to ease their suffering.
Coming up after the break, another U.S. congressman may soon be headed to prison.
But first, SIU takes a short look at the rich history of black comedy. We'll be back in 90 seconds.
Join us on the next episode of Expressions as we feature local artists throughout our region.
This season of Expressions is sponsored by Pheasant Hollow Winery and by Calico Country Sew and Vac.
Thursday at 9.
WSIU and the Carbondale Public Library present The Power Broker, Whitney Young's Fight for Civil Rights, which will be shown at 2:30 on Saturday, February 23rd in the library, 405 West Main in Carbondale. Discussion facilitators are Reverend Sidney Logwood, past president of Carbondale chapter of NAACP, Dr. Derek Williams, assistant coordinator of SIU Center for Inclusive Excellence, and SIU professor Dr. Robbie Lieberman, historian of the Civil Rights Movement. For information, call 618-453-6148.
On the next edition of WSIU in Focus, we'll visit the I-57 drag strip, a track that draws both aspiring and serious racers from around the region.
Then no parade is complete without an appearance by the Williamson County Motor Patrol. Learn more about this dedicated group of Shriners as they practice their driving routine.
Finally, we'll show you how to make a quick Asian dish called chicken lettuce wraps. Don't miss WSIU in Focus.
Friday at 5.
People came out to the John C. Guyon Auditorium in Morris Library to learn about the funny side of black history. The Why We Laugh History of Comedy event featured comedy historian Daryl Littleton. Krista Burris has more.
Well, doggone it, let the clown know. You ain't gonna know.
Daryl Littleton is not only a historian, he's also a comedian himself, as well as a writer and producer, among other things. He's met many black comedians, including the late Bernie Mac, Dave Chappelle, and Cat Williams. Littleton's been studying comedy for about 20 years. His research spans from minstrel shows in the 1800s to today.
So one of the things I learned by just interviewing comedians was the stuff that goes on that you don't really think that goes on. And you can't research this by going to the Library of Congress, can't go to the internet. You have to actually talk to people.
One student was key in bringing Littleton to campus. He came across Littleton's book while studying comedian Chris Rock and emailed him.
It looked like it was going to fall apart. And I thought Larry was flaking on me. But no, and he came back and said, no, let me turn you on to this guy. And that's when he turned me on to Dr. Williams.
Event coordinator Dr. Derek Williams says comedy is a major part of black culture, and he wanted students to learn about its history.
A lot of historical things are missed, and how comedy can be used as a really important tool to talk about social, political issues of today.
Many students took advantage of the opportunity.
And since he basically reiterated a lot of the things that I learned in class in a humorous way.
He ended the program with his own stand-up piece. For River Region Evening Edition, I'm Krista Burris.
The next Black History event on campus will be next week, the Tunnel of Oppression, where participants will get a chance to get a first-hand experience to deal with discrimination.
Former U.S. Representative Jesse Jackson Jr. pleaded guilty Wednesday to a federal charge related to years of misusing campaign funds. Jackson admitted to the judge that he used the money for personal expenses, including Michael Jackson memorabilia and a Rolex watch. He apologized as he left court.
I'm sorry I let everybody down.
You say you're sorry you let everybody down?
I'm sorry I let everybody down.
Jackson will be sentenced June 28th at a separate hearing. Today, Jackson's wife, former Chicago Alderman Sandra Stevens Jackson, also pleaded guilty to filing false tax returns in connection with the misuse of her husband's campaign funds. Her sentencing is set for July 1st.
A man is being held for $100,000 bond after being accused of terrorist threats to a private southwestern school. 25-year-old Brian Smith of Belleville was charged by Clare County. Authorities say Smith sent a text to a former girlfriend threatening her and her children. Court records show that Smith already was on probation for using a .25 caliber handgun without a valid firearm owner's identification card. A Central Illinois jury may soon visit the scene where an entire family was killed. The family died near Peoria in 2009. Police say the family of 5 was brutally murdered by Christopher Harris. The defense is asking for the jury to visit the scene to prove the defendant's innocence. The hearing date is set for April 1st. Christopher Harris and his brother pleaded not guilty to the first-degree murder in the deaths of Ruth and Rick G. and their 3 children.
2 St. Louis police officers are in the hospital after responding to a call. The officers were investigating an alarm at a boarded-up house. Police say the suspect opened fire without warning. The officers returned fire and left the suspect in critical condition. A gun and narcotics were found at the scene. The St. Louis police chief says the officers that were shot are in good spirits. The suspect is also in the hospital in critical condition.
Indiana State Police say they are seeing an increase in gun permit requests. Police say the change began after December's deadly shooting in Connecticut. Indiana residents can apply online to state police for a gun permit. Each application is carefully reviewed by the local police chief, town marshal, or county sheriff. In Indianapolis, the city's police department received more than 1,000 applications in December. The winter storm has ravaged the river region and with snow and ice. Coming up next, we'll see how much longer this storm will stick around in our area.
But first, here's a look at today's closing stock markets.
Antiques Roadshow is discovering treasures in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
What's it like meeting the president?
Well, I walked in and there was a crowd full of men in coats, and I said, okay, which one's the president? Oh my gosh.
It's a lot.
It's
a good day, isn't it?
Yes.
Next time from Myrtle Beach on Antiques Roadshow.
Thursday at 7.
This season, this old house is telling two amazing stories with one big contrast.
First, we go city, where we're building a modern home inside of an historic house.
I want it to be Scandinavian modern on the inside.
Scandinavian modern?
And then we'll go country and turn a woodland cottage into an accessible home for aging in place.
I would love to have something like this for my mother. I think there are a lot of people in exactly that same situation.
On the next WSIU in Focus, we're sure to create a buzz as we learn about beekeeping.
We'll start with the basics, then take a walk on the wild side as we follow a group of amateur beekeepers as they dismantle a massive wild beehive.
They're trying to prevent this wild colony from being destroyed and in the process hope to create a new hive they can manage.
The key is capturing the elusive queen. Experience the drama of beekeeping on WSIU in Focus.
Thursday at 9:30.
And now the forecast for the River Region. This is your evening edition weather.
Good evening, everyone. As if we haven't had enough showers, there are more coming up in our future, more winter weather coming our way, but first we'll have a little break. We'll get some sun this weekend. We're even going to reach up into the 40s and the 50s earlier this weekend. You can take a look right now. Our chilly temperatures this evening, 30 degrees, dew point at 28. Really humid, 90%. Northeastern winds blowing at 12 miles an hour this evening, and it's going to stay windy for a while. You can take at our almanac. 33 was our high today, 31 a chilly low. Today's precipitation actually was most of what we've seen this month, our highest precipitation for the month at over a half an inch. Also, a temperature check for the area, 27 Mount Vernon and Belleville, Carbondale 30. 31 Cape Girardeau, Marion 32, and Paducah 32. They're still seeing that icy weather. We're getting some rain around the region right now, some freezing rain. You can see all across the nation we're seeing some crazy weather, a lot of winter storm advisories going up in the southernmost part. They're even seeing tornadoes more south, up to a foot of snow west of us. But right now we're just seeing that rain, that wintry mix, a little bit of freezing rain. And then you can see our map, you can see where that snow is. It's more going to be up north later this week. They're going to see snow all day. Our snow is going to die out. It's not going to last until tomorrow. We're going to see some sun tomorrow. And tonight, rainy until about 2 a.m., a low of 31 degrees, wind out of the southeast at 19 miles an hour. Some strong winds overnight. Tomorrow, partly sunny with a high of 42 degrees. Wind out of the west-southwest at 13 miles an hour. Wind going down a little bit. Tomorrow night, clear skies finally with a low of 24 degrees. And then you can look at our 5-day outlook. And you'll see we are going to get some sun this weekend into the 50s even on Sunday. Monday, though, back to those showers, 51. And Tuesday, some snow showers, a high of 41. So a nice weekend, but next week we're right back to that wintry weather.
Okay, well, good to know it'll be warming up a little.
A little bit.
Thanks, Star.
Thank you, Star.
You might not think it by looking outside, but spring sports are getting underway for the Salukis.
Logan Bowles is in Now with Sports. Logan?
The Saluki men's basketball team is hoping to keep their momentum going through the bracket buster this weekend. And high school playoff basketball is underway here in the River Region. I'll be back with that and more when we come back on the evening edition.
On today's Community Dateline, an American Red Cross blood drive takes place this Saturday from 7:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. at the Blood Donation Center in Fairview Heights. Donate blood and help save a life. For more information, please call 314-658-2036. A Chorus Line, a musical, runs Friday and Saturday at 7:30 p.m. at the Carson Center in Paducah, Kentucky. Dubbed the musical for everyone who's ever had a dream, and winner of 9 Tony Awards and the Pulitzer Prize for Drama, it is one of the longest-running American Broadway musicals ever. For more information, please call 270-443-9932. Old Bags, a St. Jude fundraiser, is this Saturday at 4 p.m. at the American Legion Hall in Marion. Frank Sweeten will conduct a live auction for a variety of new or slightly used purses and bags. Then stay to enjoy the music of Dave Caputo. For more information, please call 618-997-6168 or 618-751-1631. An American Red Cross blood drive takes place this Sunday from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Effingham. Donate blood and help save a life. For more information, please call 314-422-8613. If you have an item of community interest, please send your mail or email 2 weeks in advance to the address on your screen.
And now the latest scores and highlights from across the River Region. This is Evening Edition Sports.
High school boys regionals are underway, and the top teams in the state are fighting for a spot in Peoria. In the middle of that battle is the state's top-rated team in Class 2A, the Harrisburg Bulldogs. They were in action last night in the semifinals of the El Dorado Regional. The Bulldogs played West Frankfort last night in the early game at Duff Keakston Gymnasium. Harrisburg started off quick and never looked back at the Redbirds. Harrisburg runs away from the Redbirds with a final of 74-38. Nashville, Pinckneyville, and Benton also advanced in 2A. 1A winners included last night Gallatin County, Woodlawn, and Goreville. All the boys' playoffs action in the area that was scheduled for tonight has been postponed until tomorrow. Massac County's girls' sectional game that was scheduled for tonight in Waterloo has also been moved. That game will be played on Saturday. Also in girls' action this weekend, the Nashville Hornets travel up to Normal for a shot at a state title. They open up play tomorrow night at 6:30 against Walther Lutheran out of Melrose Park at Redbird Arena. The Salukis will get their chance on the hardwood against the Miami Redhawks. After a tough loss in football on Miami's turf in the fall, the Redhawks will travel to the arena to take on the basketball Dogs in what could be the last ever Bracket Buster series. The 8-16 Redhawks will try and slow down Southern's freshman guards, who have been on one of the bright spots of the Saluki season. Anthony Bean and Jalen Pendleton have averaged a combined 19 points in the last 5 games. Tip-off is at 2:05 Saturday at the arena. And the Lady Salukis hope to end their 10-game losing streak tonight at Missouri State, where the 4-19 Dogs try to get a win against the 12-13 Lady Bears. Tip-off is at 7:05 p.m. in Springfield. The SIU softball team gets to leave this wintry weather behind this weekend in favor of sunny Clearwater, Florida. The 4-6 Dogs will be playing in the NFCA Leadoff Classic, where they hope to rebound from last night's weekend rocky trip to the Gulf Coast. If they plan to win out in Clearwater, they'll have to get by nationally ranked South Florida on Friday. Coach Kerry Blaylock hopes these tournaments will prepare the Salukis for conference play.
I just want to get better. You know, every weekend we just want to get better. We're challenging ourselves every weekend, hoping that by the time we reach the conference, we've gone through a lot of, the ups and downs, so we understand what it's going to be like.
The Dogs return home Sunday and will have their home opener March 2nd. This weekend is the Missouri Valley Conference Indoor Track Championships. The men took the title last year and look to go back-to-back with a win this year. Murfreesboro product Bradley Sauer was named MVC Field Athlete of the Week and comes into the weekend ranked in the top 10 nationally in the weight throw. Zach Darlene, Southern's top distance runner, says they're anxious for the weekend ahead.
Short term, we have the MVC Conference Championships this Saturday and Sunday, or actually this whole weekend. And last year we came off a win as a team, so really looking forward to that.
The MVC Indoor Track Championships kick off on Saturday from Northern Iowa. The men were picked to finish 3rd in the preseason poll, with the women picked to finish 4th.
All right. Thank you.
Logan.
Coming up, we'll take one final look at the winter weather and the weekend ahead.
But first, take a look at our Saluki Sports Weekend. We'll be right back.
Next time, Henry IV.
Uneasy lies the head that wears a crown.
Prince Hal. Father and son. The old king and the new.
Hal's experience alongside his father changed who Hal is.
Once more to the breach, dear friends, once more!
The drama of history in the Henrys on Shakespeare Uncovered.
Friday at 9.
Support provided by the Big Muddy Film Festival.
The rainbow will lead you to a pot of food on Saturday, March 16th and Sunday, March 17th. The Irish Cookery by Clodagh and Rachel, Ireland's favorite daughters.
When we were kids on the corner of the street.
The legends of 1950s and early 60s pop return to the PBS stage in an all-new My Music special.
To spend one night with you in our old rendezvous.
Hey, go party. Go party.
Here are some of the stories making news in the days ahead. We'll continue following the effects of this winter storm on the river region. And we'll watch developments in Washington as the financial deadline is a week away, a deadline that could force massive spending cuts. Join us Monday through Thursday at 5 for River Region Evening Edition, honored by the Illinois Broadcasters Association as the best student-produced newscast in Illinois.
Star, can we get a quick look at the weather?
Okay. Yeah, let's take one more look. Coming up in our week, we're going to have a sunny weekend. High of 42 on Saturday, high of 51 on Sunday. But then here comes that winter weather again. We're going to have showers on Monday, 51 degrees. And Tuesday, we're even going to see a little bit of snow with those showers. High of 41 degrees, low of 31. All right, thanks.
Thank you, Star. Thank you for joining us tonight. You can like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter at River Region News. I'm Anthony Giassi.
And I'm Jenna Buckles. For Logan Bold, Star Dairy, and the more than 100 students who work on Evening Edition, good night.
River Region Evening Edition is made possible through the membership support of viewers like you, with additional support from Country Insurance and Financial Services and WSIL TV3.
On Ask This Old House, we're helping homeowners all over the country.